mean, you only have one ban left. Is it going to be the Rakan or is it going to be the Annie for JDG? We don't know just quite yet, but On's Rakan, we've seen it done magical things in the past.
I feel like that Xayah ban is a really interesting take from BLG, right? We've already talked about the fact that Ruler hasn't actually been leaning towards the Xayah across the boss this year, even though he's known for the pick. I think that's denying a weak side AD carry that can survive at the bottom lane. I think BLG want to play around bot.
That's an interesting theory. Let's see if it holds true as BLG now. With that first pick, you already talked about it, guys. You mentioned jungle so many times before we got here, but BLG maybe want to keep Elk on something he's very comfortable on.
It's looking like a Jinx Aphelios even trade for this game too, but my biggest question, with the Lulu taking off now, not a lot of peeling supports available. The Tahm Kench, the Thresh still available, but I've seen missing Tahm Kench before, and I'm not too big of a fan.
Rakan is available though. This is On we're talking about. Here's
so is this. So is this.
And Shun goes for the signature
my
Kindred. Yagao on the Galio. I mean, this is just beautiful to see.
And this was banned away in game number 1 by JDG for a reason. Shun's Kindred holds so much respect historically. Almost 30 games, a 75+% win rate as well. Yagao partnered up on one of his favorites too. This is something to fear from BLG. I guess we just forget the Rakan now for On.
This is really scary from JDG as well. Ahri and Wukong still 100% win rate for this mid-jungle duo. And the Jinx also getting locked in for Rule, 100% win rate as well. I mean, JDG picking out all their trump cards for this game too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, BLG, they've got it right. Hard engaged support, I think, is a pretty clear answer here, where you need to be able to get that Galio into the fight. You're not going to have Shun on an engaging champion, so perhaps could get something that can engage for Bin as well. I don't really like that as much, though. He's a carry.
I mean, I love this Kindred pick on Shun. Every time he picks his Kindred, he will not fail to entertain us. Repeat ganks into the enemy jungle, and this time he's going to do some payback to Kanavi from game 1, alongside Yagao, where he locked in the Galio. So much resources and mobility to rotate for those plays as well.
So now, interestingly enough, let's continue talking about top side though, because we've got the Sion ban against 369 yet again. I love that Bin's Camille also taken off the board. In game 1, we saw Fiora, so did JDG go that direction, I guess, yes.
We need to talk about the Gragas, still available for JDG though. The Gragas into Kindred is a huge counter, and 369 a very good one at that as well. So BLG maybe takes that away. It also helps the top lane champion pool a little bit if Bin does want to go for the Jax for this game too.
Yeah, I know a certain jungler that would disagree with that statement about 369's Gragas. I will say though, he's definitely got a lot better.
He's not here.
Since that.
Passes at home.
That's a whole can of worms. That's a whole can of worms. Yeah, we'll see. The Nautilus taken off the board here by BLG and JDG. Gotta go for something. It could just go for a support if you do want to try and find yourself the advantageous lane at the bottom side.
I think Tahm Kench is probably the most ideal one. Maybe even denying the Rakan from On. I mean, this is pick or ban for BLG, and we've seen Missing play this Rakan as well. I think all of our LPL supports so far are amazing Rakans, because you have that extra mobility. And my biggest talking point for JDG is that when JDG are given mobility-based champions, they're able to be so slippery and make these illegal plays, which works out in the end anyway.
As we saw in game number 1, right, Missing was a bit of a powerhouse eventually when he was able to sync up with Ruler a little bit more. So now not on the Lulu, the Rakan already highlighted. The counterpick for 369. On has had a myriad of support so far this split. Please beep boop in the finals. Yes!
He's gone for it. He has gone for the Blitzcrank. I'm going to be honest, it doesn't work super well with the Galio Kindred. You kind of want to be going in so Galio can go in on top of you. But we'll see how it works out for them. BLG, though, need to lock in something for that top lane.
I mean, it could just be the Jax once again. You've taken you can still lock in the Gragas for 369, but Bin is more than happy to take that. We've seen him smack 369 on the Gragas in the previous matchup before, but maybe something else.
Bin doesn't play tanks though. Let's be real. We know that Ksante's not going to come through. Bin does not play tanks, so of course it's going to be the Jax in the end. Game number 7,205 or something along the lines. But now 369 has the opportunity. Kitty, I want to ask you, direction here for the man who plays the weak side consistently.
I mean, it does seem like he's more comfortable in this context, Ksante, and it is going to be the exact same matchup for 2 games in a row. But we see how well and disciplined 369 was playing in that game 1, and that is a really big plus for JDG because they don't have that extra pressure applied from Bin. And I need to say that Xun and Bin, they got the ball rolling in the previous best of 5 was because Xun just made his way top lane and got multiple kills into Bin's pockets, where he also collected so many tower plates and got out of control.
I've got to be honest, I'm a little surprised to see 369 not go for a Gragas. I don't think I've ever seen 369 not pick Gragas, but it's a Gragas angle. But believing in the Ksante certainly worked in game number 1. We'll see how this one's going to go down. We said we wanted more proactivity from BLG. Well, a Blitzcrank. BLG as the underdog. They were the 5th seed coming out of the regular season, making their run through the bracket, destroying legacies. Now look to take on JDG. I've got to say, the Gyro's less organized than I expected.
I know. You know, maybe the wristband's doing it for them. Anyone at home in the English audience, if you don't know, they're actually coordinated based on teams. So everyone can kind of choose who to go for in the crowd. Red, obviously, JDG. Blue, obviously, BLG. It's nice when things are color-coded, and especially in this game when they're on the right side this time. As BLG attempted a bit of an invade with Mr. Blitzcrank there. Looks like they're now going back to the bottom lane to do a standardized start.
And look at this double sweeper already for BLG. You see Yagao grabbing one, On grabbing one as well.
Yagao. Oh, he's going to get it.
He's going to spot it. Just in time. And that's a bit of solo XP there, or not solo XP, but extra XP for the solo lane there for BLG.
Yeah, most definitely. We did see the game starting out with BLG forcing 5 people into that tri-bush, wishing to get a singular hook onto JDG, but JDG knew and planted a ward in the tri-bush and avoided that very well. So BLG responding with the double sweeper because they expected a lot, of course, some wards placed in their jungle as well.
So here in this early game, as we do see a bit of a spot out with Bin trying to get priority up in this lane once again on the Jax. Kitty, I want to ask you a couple of questions. I want to look towards BLG and what they're trying to do, because it feels like we should be talking a lot about Yagao, a lot about the top lane, and how Xun can get that favored lane of BLG working again.
I mean, talking about Xun, they locked in the Venn diagram composition. It's the Galio, it's the Kindred. Once those ultimates come online, these side lanes are going to be so scary for JDG to ever respond, because Xun on this Kindred, we've seen him carry so much, where Yagao also the perfect duo for that as well. But I'm really worried because Knight, he is known as that player who gets consistent lane priority, especially on this Ahri. Then if Yagao's stuck in lane, then who's going to help Xun get those marks?
Yeah, honestly, we've got an attempt now in the mid lane as Knight moves on forwards. Yagao, walk away with his life. Knight, charm, not going to come on out. There's level 3, just a second too late.
Really good restraint from Yagao not to burn the flash. Yes, teleport to come back in, but still, early gank from Kanavi in Knight's lane. This Ahri was also banned against Knight in game number 1. I think we're starting to see the reason is Yagao's getting bullied.
This feels bold for him to stay under the tower there, but it doesn't look like Knight will really be trying too hard to find that kill.
Xun looking for a revenge gank in this middle lane. Knight does have the flash available. Can Yagao get the E-flash?
Okay, flash immediately shielded to Rand. He's going to sacrifice his life. He's got marked in the trade, but Knight might be dying. You know, flash left available. All you need to leap is forward. But Xun finds the return kill. It wasn't a mark, but it is a trade kill.
I don't even know if that's worth or not. Honestly, Kindred getting kills early, that's good, but so is Knight's Ahri.
We've seen Knight's Ahri. Man has 25 stacks pretty much every single game. A very big Medjai's enjoy, and I know Nightmare is cheering on Knight specifically. He loves his Ahri, but we need to look all eyes on Xun for this game 1 because he's looking for more in this top side.
Knight doesn't have flash available. If Xun can find an angle after charm here, but he's on a ward, he'll be able to do something.
Oh, look at Kanavi.
Yeah, we know Kanavi for the counter invades. This is what he does for a living right here. We'll have to back away as Yagao going for the E-flash attempt.
Yep. I mean, this is just the result of the previous 2v1 game going so badly for Yagao, being already so low on HP. And Xun, he does pick up the kill, not a mark like you said, Hysterics, and the first ball goes into Knight's pockets.
But I will say, to add more context, Xun got the 50-50 trade. All Kindreds out there know that first scuttle is a 50% roll. Top side secured. It was a mark here for Xun, so he is on the board in more ways than one. A small CS lead in the jungle as well. I think it's worth mentioning when we have Xun on his big power pick that 90% of the time gets banned away.
Hang on, Kanavi's moving into the bottom side here. On slightly wide on the knockup, will be knocked up himself. Kanavi being extremely patient, not going for the replay.
Wave is in a bit of a sticky situation for JDG. They were expecting a gank from Shun, but it doesn't seem like that in the very end because we know BLG, you play towards this Jax, you play towards the top side, and if Elk and On can survive this early game and with whole Kanavi's presence, we already see him making his way bottom lane. I mean, it could be good, but we see this wave already slowly building towards Bin, so Shun can realistically get his camps and make his way towards his top side.
Yeah, 369 once again absolutely loving this matchup in the top lane. Bin struggling in the early game. Ksante will do well into the Jax, but it's certainly to start things off. It's later on where the Jax really comes into his own.
But it's crazy because we've seen Bin versus 369 so far, and it hasn't really been ever so matchup dependent, right?
The role reversal.
It really is. 369 in the lane today is having a great old time. What we remember from the old top esports man.
Well, no flash here for Knight as Shun trying to move into the mid lane again. I think he'll just be able to kite this one out.
Didn't even need to burn the ultimate. I mean, I was really scared. I was like, Knight does have the ultimate, but Shun was just so far away, and I believe Kanavi did get rid of the mark, which was on his own Raptors, so Shun is still unfortunately sitting on one, but this is... I'm seeing Shandy in 369 right now. Going for the proxying, pushing in the waves, being an absolute Giga Chad in the top lane, but you can't really say that when Bin's on the board.
I mean, it's what I can say, though, as someone who's experienced top esports. Munch, we remember this was 369 at his powerhouse when he was on top esports with the man as, the flip of the mark. Again, it's going to be right for the scuttle start. Shun, it's only one spawning, but he's on the right side of the map, and he picks up number 2. It's a pretty good start at 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? BLG, priority on the Drake off the back of the reset from Ruler, but missing is here. Kanavi with a blast code. This could be a contest. Missing in this brush, and we'll find out, but there's not really any reinforcements for him.
So BLG start the game with a dragon. This time away, it feels a lot more solid than game number 1. And a small gold lead to go with it as well. This is a really good sign of life in game 2 in the final.
What a different pace between game number 1, which was just carnage and scrapping from the word go. Now game number 2, a much quieter start to things.
Yeah, I mean, my eyes are just peeled onto how many stacks Shun has. 4 is really where Kindred starts getting the gears turning and get that extra range where she becomes a real champion, let's just say that. But we have level 6s across the board for BLG now, and that is a huge spike where the Herald is also going to be spawning in 40 seconds. So I'm assuming both supports are going to make their way towards there, but I think BLG does have a little bit of an upper hand.
Well, using the ghost at the bottom side, but so does Ruler, so they're just sprinting around the bottom lane, both on full HP.
You can see the tension between these two AD carries, the historic member of now, well, I should say, of the LPL becoming Elk. I was going to say of the world in Ruler as an AD carry as well. There's a lot of hopes put on both of these members, and seeing double ghost and facing off with a 10 CS lead now for Elk is worth mentioning here, as Elk's got a lot to show after game 1 where Ruler was core carriers. He's already showing it, Munch. I feel like this starting of the turret plating is a nice hit. Oh, that's great as well.
Elk flash under the tower here, and he finds Ruler. That was pure Giga Chad energy from Elk.
Elk finding the kill, just as we're mentioning. The AD carry matchup is huge, and on again on these hooks. Kitty, you talked about it coming into this. He is the member of Hook City for a reason.
Insane hook from On, like you said, but Elk flashing forward is something that no one expected. Man loves engaging as the Aphelios, but that is just the confidence that he's showing up to this first finals that he's attending in Shanghai as well.
He's warming up for team fights where he's got a Galio, right? You want to be in the middle of everyone. He's ready to get into the action. So is On with his Moby Boots, moving to the mid lane as Herald started by JDG.
Okay, Hook comes in again. Shielders ran. There's no response. Knight has to flash away with the charm as well.
Kanavi.
Cyclone in the back end. Yagao's ulti. It's cancelled.
On forced out of the fight, Shun in the middle of everyone, but he's too low. Has to use that Lamb's respite, and the rest of the team trying to reinforce. The heal there for On as well, but it's carnage. Everybody falling in every direction. Rockets flying in from the other side of the map, but it's JDG out on top again.
But look at Bin. Look at the damage coming through. Might not have flash available, but JDG know they have to get out now. JDG with another team fight, and it's scrappy as hell.
A 1-for-3 trade for the side of JDG, and they managed to turn around because Shun, his ultimate was very selfish, was only for himself. Imagine if he used it for the other 3 members. I mean, it could have been a different fight. But we're going to see a replay of how this happened because we see Jinx unfortunately getting hooked here and also burning double summoners, which was huge. But from the previous team fight that we just saw, I mean, they just got a taste of a turn back.
We're going to have a look at it now, Kitty.
Yeah, this is going to be On starting everything on with the hook onto Knight once again, but Kanavi flashing forward, just creating a lot of distraction, also cancelling Yagao's ultimate was huge. But I think BLG looking a little bit disconnected. We see Yagao and Bin towards that top side while Shun and On fighting for their lives in this mid lane. But JDG looks so insane when it does come to a 5v5, and of course, Jinx Rocket hitting the 2.
I kind of respect BLG for going back in on that fight there, but it did look a little bit doomed, didn't it? Went on and shot us so low.
And this is why I can't shut up about JDG picking up Wukong and Ahri. They're allowed to get away with so many illegal plays.
Oh, surely not.
On blocked it.
He really is on today. Absolutely on. The crowd was cheering his name as he walked onto the stage. And he has been showing up so far.
But after that fight, let's just take a quick recall because gold is dead even. The Dragon earlier went over to BLG, and Kidio's going to ask you about setup for this one. As JDG continue pushing in bot, putting more pressure there, it looks like they had their eyes on that timer, trying to set up there first.
Yeah, missing going for the engage.
Ooh, quickness doesn't land, but now the flash to follow it up. Elk, low on HP at this point as Knight finally arrives, and they will finish off the AD carry. It took a while, but look at the plates the Ruler is sweeping up. My God,
not again.
With the Cole sitting on 4 as well, this is something that you don't want to be seeing as Elk for this game too. Hopefully BLG gets the response kills, the response plays in this middle lane, but I don't think it's enough.
Oh, the whole gang is here as Knight charging on forwards, 100% kill participation.
And Shun has no flash as well. Cyclone comes through, shielded to Ram, but missing follows through right onto the Kindred. Without Lamb's respite, JDG are punching their way through this final.
There's 4 people bot lane and then there's 4 people mid lane. JDG is walking as a 4-man unit across this entire map, and I think just talking about this Wukong and Ahri, they have so much mobility. They just jump over walls and cheat the tempo by so much. And of course, in the previous fight, Knight is now 3-1, getting those resets, and now the Everfrost as well, just making everything so much easier to set up.
I mean, JDG right now, they're looking at the scoreboard, seeing On's Moby Boots and laughing maniacally. They're faster than Moby Boots ever could be. But look at this, the cavalry to punish BLG.
Yeah, I mean, Shun, with his ultimate being such a long cooldown, just didn't have that available here as well. 369 was absolutely missing. Bin was missing.
No, you're right. You're right. Absolutely missing.
And yeah, it was just a 4v2 in the mid lane, and of course, Shun caught out.
And that's what makes JDG so insane, isn't it? You saw the timer on Lamb's respite. People at home, that was less than 10 seconds. They found that timer perfectly on the Shun. And now that we've got Dragon live, JDG got a bit of an advantage here with gold. We'll see what they can do with those 3 big bounties, and now moving towards the objective.
Shun does have that ultimate available for this next fight, though, so that is going to be huge. Wukong not there just quite yet.
Okay.
So BLG need to play this very carefully within the time frame, just like how JDG did it 30 seconds earlier.
Less than 1,000 gold between the teams here as On Hex flashing around, looking for an opportunity on his Blitzcrank. And remember, any fight can change on a dime when you've got a Blitzcrank in the game. Missing, trying to defend the tower as well. Looks like he should... No, actually won't be able to finish off that plate. Instead, moving over towards the Drake. Kanavi could be in trouble. Knight misses the charm.
Holy!
Oh, the clone!
The clone, you're right. So Yagao not going to be able to follow that up. There's a Dragon's going to be started with Kanavi getting zoned out.
Here's Elf stepping onto the scene as Ruler stood on a ward right now. Find his zap, but On going to be looking for those hooks. Keep your eyes on that Blitzcrank.
But remember, Elk doesn't have his first item, Ruler does. And again, this Jinx, like last game, could be dangerous. Quickness going to be burnt on, flashes away immediately. Rock grab, doesn't find anyone as Kanavi jumps in. The wins are all great. And the death rocket onto Shun is huge. Yagao, he's just playing a frontline tank.
Just completely broke Missing's ankles. That was gorgeous, but now JDG muscle their way onto the Drake. They'll find it. 369 in the middle of everyone. Yagao misses the fight here, and everyone charging on it.
But look at Elk's ulti as well. He's got the perfect guns. His low health fast as Lambs. Keeps it alive. Shun in the middle though, gets them all low as Elk
they found
the target, but they get onto the back line. JDG do it again!
The Kindred backfires for BLG, and it saves the entirety of JDG, and they get a 4-for-0 wipe.
I mean, that was not the greatest ultimate you've ever seen. Shun had to use it, but JDG just jump on it. The whole gang just joins the party.
We thought it was looking so good. I mean, like you said, Missing's ankles are getting broken by Shun here, but I thought this was looking really good for BLG. Bin got a 4 or 5-man stun in this specific choke, but there was just not enough AoE damage from BLG to execute anyone. And 369 ulting him and also obviously connecting the stun as well, but Missing as that distraction of the Rakan split up BLG and of course forcing the Kindred stalled out at the very end to save everyone. I mean, Kanavi lived on one HP.
I love the Venga bus getting in the middle of the land for a spot, you know? It was perfect.
That was, I mean, it's the fact that Shun does it. You can see Light laughing about it.
I don't mind if I do.
Yeah, Shun drops the ultimate, and just everyone from JDG piles aboard. And I mean, just look at the scoreboard. Look at the kills and assists for Kanavi and Knight. You already mentioned, Kitty, the Wukong and Ahri, the combo for the early game.
And I feel like we're just getting the JDG experience in Game 2 all over again, right? We talked about it in Game number 1. It comes out of nowhere. JDG found the early game in Game number 1, but it was back and forth a bit. But the Jingdong, once they hold something, they tend to hold it good. Now with 3.5k gold lead, Shun's in a bit of trouble.
Oh, he spotted him,
looking for himself, and yep, he's dead. Once again, the timing is huge.
Great little charm there from Knight to deny any chance of escape in that one. And JDG, I mean, once they start, they just don't stop.
And I'm counting right now, 14 stacks at 15 minutes for this Medjai's on Knight Ahri. Very happy as a JDG fan right now. And of course, all the mythics online for this entire roster right now. So with the Herald spawning in 30 seconds, I mean, 369, he's looking like he's going to gain this lane priority and work towards that river.
Has the all-out available. Bin could be in trouble here, but watching the queue, I think he'll walk away with his life. And I have to say, these fights where the Kindred ultimate is deciding everything. Knight,
Got the turret, shielded Durant.
And it's too late. It's too early. Sorry, Yagao can't find the kill.
That timing is rough for Yagao. When we're talking about these two Pingsung boys going up against each other yet again, Knight's looking hell good here in the series to get his revenge, to even up the score. Things looking good for JDG overall. BLG trying to get the scraps, which seems to be the second Herald.
Be able to get this one pretty much uncontested. Another rocket. I love the attempts from Ruler, even if he's not fighting the Heralds, like just trying to go for that across the map.
BLG reviving a little bit with that Herald into the pocket, but what do they lose? 2 towers, 1 T2 tower in the bottom lane. I mean, Knight can't, I mean, Yagao can't really respond to this Ahri when it comes to the push, but there's a TP ward.
Oh, here we go. Bin behind enemy lines and needs to be the hero. He certainly was in the first series between these two teams. Gets onto Kanavi here. The rest of the team trying to follow up onto the Cyclone. But he's into the pit. Missing's there to help him out as well. JDG just walk away.
369 is just vibing in that top lane. He's not the one forcing plays around the map. He's kind of acting like a Jax, and he even puts up the thumbs up Hysterics.
Oh, he knows the camera timing's there. He's a showman. But as you said, you know, not only that, but Bin losing the teleport, hitting a minute 15 before the Dragon is good dodge. That's the response. We now have objective bounties for BLG because they're falling that far behind.
I mean, BLG's entire composition is about this Kindred, and I think once you die a couple of times, maybe like 2 at max, this Kindred pick really falls off immensely, and you already see the desperation from Bin forcing him out the TP flank onto JDG, but JDG having their slippery mobility, they just run out and get out.
And I think, like, talking about the mobility for JDG has been crucial in this game, right? Because it's not just about in the fights, that mobility, the survivability of this composition and using Shun's Lamb's Respite and getting those hand stiff moments, but also their mobility around the map in the early game. The way that they were moving as a unit, the way that they're catching Shun out in his own jungle, it feels like this JDG roster are fully on the same page.
And we're at that moment again where Rule is sitting on that rapid fire cannon for this Jinx. And if we reference game 1, that is where JDG looked just, they took over the game. You couldn't really come back once the Jinx started getting those items on. And because BLG traded the Herald for the towers in the bot side, JDG has complete vision control and they can't contest the second dragon.
And even though talking about the 80 carries that, you know, we do have Elk who had some great moments in the early game, that real flashy play bot. Ruler was up that item, he was that diff in AD. Someone to continue watching here as Dragon number 3 is going to go down. JDG with 2 apiece here, with a 5k gold lead at 18 minutes in the game in our grand final. It's again a beautiful start as we're hitting that 2-item power spike.
And the star of the show in game number 2 really has been Knight so far, hasn't it?
Agreed.
Because like the last 2 finals, coming in 2nd place, changes teams to the team that beat him most recently. And now looking phenomenal in game number 2, but it's a hook onto Missing. He's caught out. Should go down with the quickness. Might be able to save him, and he's got teammates.
That's the 3rd time JDG have gotten away with murder here, or at least walking into a brush. BLG just can't get a break.
How many times will they escape moments like this?
I mean, that is just because the Blitzcrank in this game too is so poor. He doesn't have his Everfrost just quite yet. Having that extra bit of CC to lock down the Rakan could have been the difference. But because of the economy, I mean, it is terrible, but the second dragon, of course, is going to get secured by JDG, and they're in a very comfortable position because they have the scaling comp once again with this Jinx and Ksante.
Certainly do. They're feeling comfortable with the way this game is going. And I mean, I don't even think we need to necessarily talk that much about scaling because right now they're 6,000 gold ahead at the 20-minute mark. Like, I don't think the scaling is really going to come into things because the way that JDG plays when they're ahead like this, they end games fast.
I think it comes down to the fight, right? We don't talk about it because so far in this series, the team fighting has been pure bliss, pure fun to watch. Cyclone, speaking of, comes out and
the rockets!
Out of thin air, Ruler picks up his first kill.
That was beautiful. And Ruler, he's just been blasting that rocket out on cooldown. I feel like JDG orchestrating plays based on Ruler's rocket cooldown.
Exactly, and it's kind of giving me flashbacks to how people used to utilize Ezreal ult, just giving a little bit of vision, maybe securing a dragon across the map, but on having a very tough game to find angles on this Blitzcrank. We see it work once, but not too much for the next 20 minutes.
Negotiating the bottom lane. Meanwhile, 369 is trying to run down Yagao. The all-out going to be burned as well. Solo kill territory. Yagao does a bit of damage, but the consistency from 369, who wants revenge against Yagao, against the old mid laner. 369 with the solo kill. He's feeling it today.
He certainly is. He is ready for today. Ksante in 2 games and looking phenomenal in 2 games.
We are rolling absolute nines for this finals in the 2023 spring, but I mean, 369 truly does look like a different player compared to their previous best of 5.
I believe we're looking at a JDG staring down match point. It's 7,000 gold, and yes, the game's still going, folks, but 7,000 gold.
I feel like the day's only just begun.
Yes,
How
right.
are we this close to
We wanted a game 5, and we're staring down the barrel of a match point, a 2-0 start, if it continues like this as we look at the replay.
I mean, 369 just knew he would take on this fight. He had 2 items at this point, and my man Yagao was sitting on 1. So Ksante doing Ksante things, very strong when it comes to 1v1 dueling, and of course with Yagao building the Zhonya's for the second, but JDG starting Baron now.
21-minute Baron as 369 pulled in. BLG have to contest, but there's no one tanky enough to walk into the area. The Baron surely goes down, shot over the wall, but denied by Missing, who gets quickness on everyone, and then just sprints in the other direction. The Cyclone is in, and JDG come out on top again.
It's an absolute wipe. BLG are wiped off the face of the earth, but Jingdong in the past couple of years, it's performance after performance, and now against BLG in the final as Ruler flexes forward. Remember my name in the LPL. He might just be looking at his first title.
A clean 5-0 trade for JDG to end the second game. And we're on match point, guys.
This is absurd from JDG. They only just beat BLG in the upper bracket finals. But here today in the stadium with the crowd behind them, JDG mean business. A 2-0 start to our final.
We talk about LPL legacies of RNG, of EDG. Quickly, I'm starting to think that Jingdong are building their own throne. Match point for yet another title. It would be back-to-back from summer. And BLG came into this looking competitive, but so far it has just been the story of Jingdong wiping the smiles right off their faces.
It's absolutely magnificent to see. They've got 2 trophies in the last 3 years, and they're looking for a third. And remember, it would be back-to-back. Despite 3 roster changes coming into the year, they could be looking at another trophy. Like, that is just such a massive, like, turnaround to be able to change a team so fundamentally and still succeed. It's a massive, like, boon to both the coach and the remaining players.
I mean, to be fair, 369 Kanavi and Missing together as always, but bringing in Ruler and Knight for this year, they are looking spectacular. I mean, I can't stop praising them because we see the difference in that Ahri. We see the difference in that game with the Ahri. And my man was having such a fun time. He was laughing.
In the Ahri as well, right? Like, that was huge from Knight. And I feel like we need to respect JDG more than ever as they look completely different from their BLG series.
They certainly do. I mean, Knight getting almost a stack a minute across